Leeds United 0, Bristol City 0, and wow, that was flat. I know I said last week was flat, like a bottle of Coke you've left on the counter for 30 minutes. This is like a bottle of Coke you've left on the counter for 30 months. There was really not a lot to write home about at all. Ironically, they had the NHL or rugby lines, whatever it was, out in the Bristol City Stadium, because at times it was like I was watching one of those games. It was boring, it was a snooze fest, and it was very lethargic. And you see this a little bit with Leeds, is we can play decently against some of the better sides, and even this year we've been getting turned over by a couple of them, which is very alarming. But we're a side, especially under Fark, and this is why I said when we were dropping points to some of these bigger teams earlier on, and everyone's like, oh, we got lower half of the table, we got easy games coming up, we got good runs, we're a side who tends to drop the level of our performance at times to the team we're playing against. And today we're playing against Bristol City, who are a side who are not that phenomenal, who are a side who we should be really taking to the cleaners, but unfortunately we just seem to drop our levels. Our tempo seems to drop. Our passing accuracy seems to drop. Our finishing ability, well, that's questionable as it is. But Leeds just in general seem to do that, and that's a big problem that we have. And unfortunately, today was another one of those occasions. We didn't really create enough with the opportunities that we did have to. I mean, even if you look at the start of the game, Bristol City kind of took the game to us. They almost came through within the opening 3 minutes. Beautiful run down the middle of the park. And Leeds were completely spread open there. And Byron made a brilliant last-ditch challenge over there. But it just seems like whenever we play against these worst teams, whenever we play against teams that try to set up to kind of cause us problems and to counteract our playing style, it just really seems like we don't have any idea of how to deal with it at all. And today, as I said, again, was another one of those occasions. And unfortunately, we're now looking at a point where we've dropped more points. We've got Sunderland playing now. We've got Sheffield United just behind us, Burnley just behind us, Burnley playing now as well. A lot of teams that can catch us up now, a lot of teams that can really cause us problems, and a lot of teams that, unfortunately, if we don't back our ideas up soon, are going to cruise past us in the league table. Now, in terms of where we go from here is asking the serious questions that we were asking against Sheffield United, the serious questions that we were asking last week when we were scraping these wins, and it wasn't the most convincing, and it wasn't the most tantalizing of performances to say we're going to have bigger tests, to say that, you know, us eking through with 1-goal leads and shutting out the game from the 10th minute onwards is not good enough, and that you have to look at the messages. It's not just about results. It's not just about the fact that we're getting these results, because if the performances don't stand up to the results, the performances eventually are going to cause the results to drop off. And you're seeing it today. Everyone that was telling me to be positive, to not be too critical, to just look at things for how they are, were the ones saying, this is it, we're going to go on a big win streak now, 8, 9, 10 game win streak, because that's what you need to win the championship. But our win streak has been cut short within 2 games because of Bristol City. And I'm sorry, I'm not just trying to dump on them and be that guy and be like, it's Bristol City, it's this, it's that. But that side were there for the taking today. They were there for the taking. And again, if Leeds were on their game and we were looking sharp and we were picking the balls around nicely, we had a Ramazani to spread the channel on the left-hand side, we would have cruised them. We would have absolutely cruised them. But unfortunately, Leeds were not on our game. Unfortunately, Leeds were not looking sharp. And unfortunately, we allowed Bristol City to really kind of, make us play in the areas they wanted to. Yes, we dominated possession. The first half alone, we had about 65% of the possession. But it doesn't say much when the possession is not in the great areas. I think we were forced out wide a lot. That's the only places we were really getting any joy. The middle was very contested today. we were really lacking having a natural left back there. I thought Byron played well. I thought in the moments he was called on defensively, he didn't really step a foot wrong. I thought going forward again, he wasn't that bad. But we just really lacked having that natural pace and width that you get from a senior Firpo out there that you just don't get with Sam Byron. Having that natural pace and athleticism out on that left-hand side really allows us to attack and express ourselves going forward. And unfortunately, we did lack having that today. And that's something, again, that I'll say that I thought let Leeds down, was the lack of natural attacking width down that side. And it did kind of force us to kind of push everything down the right-hand side because of the way that Byron was kind of dropping in as an extra midfielder, playing as a false back almost. So we were kind of forced to put a lot of attacking impetus on Jayden Bogle, and I actually thought he delivered today. I thought this was one of Bogle's best games. I thought the two best players on the pitch for me, arguably, were Bogle and Dan James. I thought they were very, very good today. Bogle putting some great through balls. One brilliant one to Dan James, where Dan James went for the cutback. It was a great time run from him. And then Gnonto, again, you're going across goal there. When you're going across goal with that strike, basically, it's a great run by Bogle, runs forward. Beautiful through ball in front of him to Dan James, who instead of shooting and being greedy, cuts it back into the space where he knows Gnonto's going to be. Really, really smart play from Dan James. And then Gnonto just lashes at it. He lashes at it back across goal. But really, if you're going to go back across goal, because the defenders are coming across to meet you, a lot of the time they're going to leave their legs dangling out behind to try and block something. So if you're going across goal like that, you always have to lift it. It's the name of the game. You got to lift it a little bit so that when they're dangling their legs behind, they're not going to be able to get just flick it out and get a little block on there. So that's one thing that was really lacking from Leeds' game today, was the finishing from Gnonto. He's got to lift that a little bit. But as I said, Bogle and Dan James phenomenal on that right-hand side. Other great crosses he was putting in. Dan James as well especially caused them utter bedlam today. Every single time he got a chance to run in behind and spread them and stretch the channels, he was doing it. And it was really not allowing Bristol City to ever set themselves in that defensive shape, because they were always forced to watch out for Dan James, to try and track his run, to try and follow him around to make sure he wasn't getting himself in behind. They were forced to be alert in those situations, and Dan James, I thought, really, really held himself to a very high account today. I thought he was phenomenal. But let me know what you guys think. Am I off pace with some of the things that I said? Am I off base, with some of the things I said? Do you agree with them? Who do you guys think your man of the match was? Were you happy with the result? Do you think that that's nothing too much to smirk at? 2 points dropped isn't the worst, or are you starting to see some cracks really showing? Please let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. For now, guys, though, I will see you very soon. Bye, brothers and my sisters.